The 21 Principles of the Inner Art of War, according to Miyamoto Musashi. Principle 1. Know yourself and the enemy, and you will never fear the outcome. Musashi didn't fight only with a sword, he fought with his eyes turned inward. To know oneself is to master the battlefield where every war begins. The mind, weaknesses, fears, and desires become enemies if left unseen. But one who observes their own impulses with clarity becomes immune to the unexpected. Because outer chaos cannot defeat the warrior who understands his own shadow. At the same time, seeing the other without attachment sets you free from illusion. The enemy often reflects the parts of yourself you haven't yet resolved. That's why Musashi never underestimated an opponent. He deciphered them. A true warrior reads the silence before any gesture. And when both eyes, inner and outer, are open, victory has already begun. Principle 2. The greatest victory is the one achieved without fighting. Musashi never sought battles out of pride, only out of necessity. He understood that true mastery lies in avoiding conflict before it even begins. To command energy so deeply that one disarms without a touch, that is real power. A centered spirit commands respect without saying a word. For an enemy who feels the strength in your calm hesitates, and the battle ends before it starts. Avoiding the fight isn't weakness, it's wisdom in its purest form. The urge to react destroys, the art of restraint transforms. Musashi reminds us, only fight when there's no other choice, and even then, fight with dignity. Winning without raising the sword is the quietest kind of victory, and the most complete. One who masters the invisible no longer needs to prove anything in the visible. Principle 3. Opportunities bloom for those who act without hesitation. Musashi taught that overthinking is the first step toward defeat. The moment of decision is sacred. When it appears, you must be whole. Doubt is a fog that blinds the spirit. But with inner clarity, the body moves with certainty, as if it already knows the way. The warrior does not hesitate. He answers the call of the now with conviction. Time waits for no one who falters. In life, as in battle, openings vanish in the blink of an eye. Musashi saw the present moment as the only space where the sword could touch destiny. That's why he never postponed what his intuition shouted today. Those who act with a steady heart turn randomness into strategy. Principle 4. Every war is sustained by the art of illusion. Musashi didn't win through brute strength. He won with the mind. He knew that showing your plan is the same as giving it away. Strategy is a dance of shadows. You strike with one hand and win with the other. The true warrior confuses the enemy until he's fighting the wind. For those who master appearance, also command the outcome. On the path of the sword, nothing is as it seems. Distraction is a weapon. A sudden change becomes an invisible strike. Musashi shifted rhythm, form, gaze, all to make his opponent lose center. When the other doesn't understand what's happening, he's already lost. Victory belongs to those who move beyond the visible field. The body may stand still, but the strategist's mind has traveled miles. True strength lies in hiding strength. Show weakness where there's power. Show intent where there's none. The enemy attacks what he sees and falls into what he missed. The art of deceiving with truth is what separates a duelist from a master. Principle. In the midst of chaos, there's always a path forward. Musashi was never afraid of confusion. He listened to it. While others lost their calm, he silenced himself within. A mind that remains firm amid chaos is a blade that never shakes. Turmoil only unbalances those already unstable inside. The true warrior finds direction even in the thickest disorder. To Musashi, chaos wasn't an obstacle. It was a hidden map. Every scream, every unexpected move revealed cracks to those who knew how to look. One who keeps a steady mind in turbulence sees what others miss. In uproar, awareness becomes gold. And those who see first, strike first. The warrior doesn't fight chaos, he dances with it. He learns to breathe where others scream. He waits where others run. His strength lies in awareness, not in force. And when everyone is distracted, he advances. Because inner peace turns any battlefield into opportunity. Principle 6. Victory belongs to those who know when to fight and when to wait. Musashi never swung his sword on impulse. He knew the right moment is worth more than 1,000 reckless strikes. Patience isn't passivity, it's power at rest. A wise warrior watches, senses, calculates, and only then moves. Those who rush the timing of victory dig their own defeat. Wisdom lies in knowing when to fight and when to wait. Many lose by trying to fix everything too fast. True victory belongs to those who wait for the enemy's exact moment of imbalance. Musashi struck when the opponent had already lost. Within. That's why he won before swords ever touched. To wait is not to retreat. It's to charge your strike with precision. Trust that the universe reveals the moment. If your mind is alert. The warrior doesn't react to chaos. He acts when everything aligns. This mastery of time turns a single movement into final decision. And one who controls time, controls destiny. Principle 7. Surprise the enemy by appearing where least expected. Musashi believed that victory is won through unpredictability. Repeating patterns is a path to defeat. A warrior invisible in the enemy's thoughts is a threat no defense can stop. He didn't strike head-on, he appeared where the other never looked. For the most effective blow is the one no one saw, coming. Predictability is an invitation to failure. Musashi trained not just to be strong, but to be unreadable. His moves were unusual, his strategies uncommon. And in surprise, fear is born, because what can't be predicted can't be blocked. The unexpected unravels even the most prepared. A rigid mind breaks. But the warrior who walks unfamiliar paths confuses, destabilizes, and wins. It's not just about force, but vision. Being one step ahead, on a path only he knows. Surprise is a gift for those who know how to remain hidden until the perfect moment, and when they appear, it's already too late. Principle 8. Even the sharpest blade rusts, if forgotten in time. Musashi never stopped training, not even at his peak. He knew yesterday's mastery won't win tomorrow's battle. Excellence demands constant cultivation, like a flame that must be fed. The warrior who gets comfortable dulls his edge, because all that's left unattended begins to decay. Discipline is the foundation of invincibility. Talent isn't enough. The path must be respected. Musashi sharpened his mind and blade daily, even in times of peace, because he understood the true enemy is forgetting who you are. Rust comes not from combat, but from neglect. Staying ready is the secret of the unbeatable. The warrior doesn't train to show off. He trains to stay clear. Even when all is calm, he remains alert. True preparation happens when no one is watching, and one who lives in readiness is never caught off guard. Principle 9. Never repeat the same tactic. Adapt like water to its container. Musashi saw rigidity as a death sentence. What's inflexible breaks. What flows survives. Strategy is no formula. It's a dance with the unknown. Water changes shape with its container, and so must the warrior. Adaptable, aware, alive. To repeat past victories is to gamble against the present. The adaptable mind wins even on hostile ground. Musashi wasn't tied to fixed styles. He used them as tools, not cages. Each opponent, each setting, each moment demands a unique response. That's why the master never looks the same. He shifts as the world does. Strength lies not in method, but in result. True victory belongs to those who reinvent themselves with every step. Tradition matters, but renewal is essential. The warrior who adapts walks with time and is never left behind. He doesn't fight like yesterday. He fights as today demands, and one who becomes like water overcomes even the hardest stone. Principle 10. A true leader guides by example, not by force. Musashi didn't shout orders, he inspired silence. His conduct spoke louder than any command. A true warrior leads by becoming the living example of his teachings. He doesn't demand, he demonstrates. And when words and actions align, others follow without being forced. Presence becomes power when born of integrity. Musashi was first to rise, calmest in chaos, most devoted in training. He didn't ask for respect, he embodied it. And when someone leads with truth, leadership happens naturally. It's not control, it's magnetism. The leadership that transforms comes from within. The warrior masters himself before guiding others. He lives what he teaches, walks what he advises, breathes what he believes. And so, he draws others in silence. Because the true commander is one who never stopped, being a student of the path. Principle 12. Reflect deeply before acting, but strike without hesitation. When the time comes, Musashi meditated with the same intensity he dueled. For him, reflection was how you sharpened the invisible sword, the mind. But once a decision was made, there was no turning back, only action. The warrior thinks first, but acts with conviction. Doubt has its time before choice. Afterward, it weakens and delays. Balance between contemplation and movement marks the master. Musashi never mistook slowness for wisdom. He took time to decide, but once he did, his steps were unstoppable. His action rose from peace, not haste. The warrior doesn't need to rush. He only needs to be ready at the right moment. To act without hesitation doesn't mean acting without thought. It means the preparation happened in silence. Hesitate in the moment of truth, and you give your chance away. But act with firmness, and you honor every step you took to reach that moment. This is how a warrior turns decision into destiny. Principle 13. The true master shapes the battlefield and never lets it shape him. Musashi never stepped into battle without shaping it first. He chose the ground, the rhythm, the distance, forcing the opponent to play his game. For one who sets the rules starts ahead. A wise warrior avoids disadvantage. He transforms it before acting. Outer control begins with inner mastery. Your own ground isn't just physical, it's mental. Musashi made his body and mind the ideal battlefield. He never let others pull him off balance. If something escaped his control, he paused, adjusted, redirected, and only returned to combat when the setting favored his victory. Imposing your rhythm is refusing the enemy's urgency. Musashi moved to his inner music, not the opponent's. That's why surprise rarely touched him. While others tried to react, he had already written the script. A master doesn't enter the other's fight. He makes the other enter his. Principle 14. Confuse the enemy until he can no longer read your true intent. Musashi knew fear grows from what we don't understand. And when the enemy can't grasp your purpose, he loses his center. Confusion isn't disorder. It's refined strategy. When the opponent hesitates because he can't predict, he's already lost ground. Silence, a distant gaze, an odd step, all become weapons. Mystery cuts deeper than any sword. Musashi never let himself be figured out. He shifted energy, direction, intention, like a river that escapes the banks. The enemy tried to predict, and failed. That failure bred anxiety, and anxiety opened cracks. Uncertainty breaks even the strong. When no one knows what you'll do, they all hold back. Well-guided confusion isn't noise, it's tactic. Musashi wasn't just force, he was enigma. And in the world of enigmas, the least understood one wins. Because fear settles in when the mind seeks answers and finds none. Principle 15. Before fighting, coldly measure the price. You'll pay. Musashi never drew his sword without calculating the cost. Every conflict demands a toll: time, energy, peace, or even honor. Those who enter battle on impulse usually lose something essential. A true warrior doesn't fight for pride. He fights with clarity, and only when he knows exactly what's at stake. To act without measuring is like cutting without aiming, reckless and dangerous. Musashi saw battle as a last resort, not the first choice. He wasn't driven by emotion, but by strategy. And every strategy begins with a silent question. Is it worth it? If you don't know what you're willing to lose, you're not ready to win. Cold decision-making is the fire of awakened awareness. It's not heartlessness, it's wisdom. The deadliest blade is wielded by one who knows exactly what he's protecting. And when the warrior chooses to fight, he's already at peace with the cost. That's why his victories are clean, and his defeats honorable. Principle 16. When you are strong, appear weak. When you are weak, appear strong. Musashi mastered the art of deception through perception. He hid his power behind simple gestures and showed strength when he was at risk. In strategy, appearing matters as much as being. The enemy reacts to what he sees, and what he sees isn't always real. The warrior knows revealing everything is exposing himself to the blade. Subtlety is an invisible shield. When you appear fragile, you invite reckless attacks. And when you appear unshakable, the enemy hesitates. Musashi used this dance masterfully. His calm face hid storms. His silence was more unsettling than noise. Controlling perception means steering the rhythm of the battle. A true strategist knows that poorly used strength turns against itself, but disguised strength confuses, disarms, and dismantles. Musashi never showed all his cards. He let the enemy believe he understood the game. And in that illusion, he claimed victory. Principle 17. Victory belongs to those who accept the full price. Musashi didn't believe in luck. He believed in total commitment. Victory isn't a gift. It's a consequence. Many crave glory but reject the burden of the path. The warrior embraces pain, lonely training, silent failure. Because he knows mastery is expensive, but worth everything. The real battle happens before the fight. It's in unseen days, in training at dawn, in quiet repetition, in the sacrifice of comfort. Musashi embraced the process as part of his very identity. There was no shortcut, only loyal practice. He became a legend not by talent, but by discipline. Victory isn't for those who try, it's for those who endure. For those willing to fall and rise 1,000 times until the body obeys the soul. Musashi bled with every step of the path of the sword. That's why his strikes carried history's weight. One who pays the price of victory becomes unbreakable. Principle 18. If I move fast, I live. If I hesitate, I die. To Musashi, hesitation meant death. On the path of the sword, a split second decides everything, and only those who move before doubt survive. Speed doesn't come from rushing, but from absolute preparation. He trained until response became instinct, not choice. On the battlefield, thinking too much is losing too much. Action must be like lightning, silent, inevitable, precise. Musashi didn't react. He anticipated. His mind had already explored every outcome before the first motion. So when he struck, it felt like the future followed his hand. One who hesitates is trapped between past and future. One who acts owns the present. Speed isn't physical, it's mental. It's being so present there's no room for fear. The hesitating warrior is torn inside. But the one who trusts himself has already won within. Musashi didn't wait for the strike. He was the strike. Because the one who decides first shapes the fate of all. Principle 19. Build a golden bridge for the enemy to retreat with dignity. Musashi knew that humiliating an enemy plants the seed of revenge. The true master wins with honor, and
lets the other keep theirs. The golden bridge isn't weakness. It's emotional wisdom. When the adversary sees a noble exit, he chooses peace.
But when cornered, he'll fight to the death, even in vain. Offering dignity protects your own peace. Musashi saw compassion as part of the strategy. It's not blind kindness, it's wide vision. Avoiding future wars is better than winning instant ones. A single gesture of respect can prevent 10 future battles. Letting the other retreat with honor is winning without creating eternal enemies. The wise warrior doesn't need to crush, he just shows he could. Musashi knew a well-ended war teaches more than one that destroys. True power lies in turning conflict into awareness, and that golden bridge is the path of the wise. Principle 20. Energy is like a drawn bow. Decision is the arrow's release. Musashi taught that storing power without direction wastes potential. Energy without action is like an arrow never loosed. The warrior prepares his mind, body, and spirit, and when all align, he fires. Tension isn't the end, it's the beginning of motion. Decision is when the invisible becomes real. Training, thinking, planning, all are vital, but without the final act, all is lost. Musashi never let doubt corrode the arrow he shaped with effort. He knew the right time demands total courage. The world doesn't honor intent, it honors action. And the arrow shows no mercy to the hand that hesitates. The difference between a warrior and a dreamer lies right there. One shoots, the other waits. Musashi released his arrows with conviction. No looking back, no wishing for another chance. Energy is sacred, but only when used. And when the warrior releases the arrow with truth, it never misses. Principle 21. The superior fighter imposes his will, but never bows to another's. Musashi didn't react to the world, he shaped it. His mind was the source of action, not a mirror of external forces. He knew that one who only responds is always a step behind. So he refused to follow another's intention. He set the battle's rhythm and made others dance to his tune. Imposing. Your will isn't domination, it's presence and clarity. A warrior with inner command doesn't need to convince. He transforms the room with certainty. Musashi didn't ask for space, he filled it with mastery. One who owns himself becomes a reference point for all others. To bend to another's will is to be a slave to chaos. Musashi lived in such deep alignment with purpose that nothing could pull him off course. His focus was blade, his intent shield. He wasn't shaken by noise. He acted from the silence within. For one who masters, the inner world is never truly defeated. The way of the warrior begins in the silence of the mind. To speak of Musashi is not to tell the story of a swordsman. It's to unveil the map of an invincible mind. His principles aren't rules of war, but invitations to awaken. Each line, each gesture, each silence of the warrior points to a deeper battle, the one between who you are and who you fear becoming. The real enemy is never in front of you. It lives within. These 21 principles don't ask you to fight. They ask you to face yourself, to observe your decisions as if they were swords, sharp, powerful, and dangerous in the wrong hands. Musashi won over 60 duels because before every fight he had already defeated pride, fear, and hesitation. He proved mastery lies not in the strike, but in the hand that holds the blade. From now on, your life can become your dojo, each choice an invisible duel. Each silence, a training ground. Each challenge, a mirror. A warrior who only listens is a dreamer, but one who trains, who applies, who observes, becomes a legend. For the way of strategy never ends. It reveals itself step by step to those who dare to live in presence. And you? Are you ready to wield your own mind?